You know what's funny about this? I wanted to look at this Fulmer outing because the first inning for him did not look good. He looked like classic, like the guy who was getting beat up, like the one who we compared to Jordan Zimmerman the other day. But in the second two innings he threw, you could see you started to get an example of how it could work for him. And it's not gonna he's not gonna blow anybody away, but you can see it with movement and switching things up. And so, like we said, this first inning was not great. It wasn't awful, but he ended up, three hard hit balls, I think, maybe four of them. Two of them, the shift helped him out, but that third one you saw just kind of hit right into the shift. So yeah, three hard hit balls. But this is the second inning that I think you really start to see he's mixing all his pitches, and everything looks good. And he just jammed. Was that McCutcheon up and in?
Yep, that was McCutcheon right there. Yeah.
So you see the curveball right there. Change up, nasty change up. Like you see the movement all of a sudden comes out of nowhere. And then a slider, that's three different pitches, tons of different movement, another change up. He didn't even bother throwing a fastball. So here he is against Harper, throws the fastball right by him. I think that's a sinker, actually.
With Harper there, I think because Harper saw some the previous at bats, all those so many off speed pitches, he was sitting, and then when that 92 fastball got grooved in there, that's when you can place that 92 mile an hour fastball right there. Sorry, go ahead.
And so and that's a great inning. And here's the I don't know if you could pause it real quick for me. This is the at bat that I really wanted to highlight. Oh, that's perfect because this is exactly where it is. So, and I don't know if we give like a ton of credit to Jake Rogers if this is Fulmer too, but both of them. So he gets ahead of Bohm, Alec Bohm, probably the Phillies' best overall hitter, maybe him and Segura. And these next three pitches are just, in my mind, like kind of perfect sequencing. So he starts them. He throws a four-seamer up and away. It almost looks like a cutter, actually. But it's a four-seamer up and away. And then the next pitch is a two-seamer in almost exact same spot, but instead of running away, it moves back into the bat. You see that? And Bohm piles it off. And then they come back with a slider right after it. Same location. And he has, and that's a guy that's, like I said, he's a really good hitter. It's tough to strike him out. And you got three different pitches, basically all in the same area, all moving different ways. And I thought that was really, really good use of sequencing there. So, like I said, I don't know if we give Rogers credit to that, but you have to give Fulmer credit for executing it. And here we see more of the same. The movement on his pitches, that's another change up there.
Slider. Yeah. Wow. See, that was
look at that. Yeah, I mean, what we see, basically what we were talking about with Tehran the other day in our Patreon video is he's going to get, he can do this if he gets consistent movement. And this is some of the best movement I've seen on his pitches in a long time. And he was getting swings and misses with 5 different pitches. And you compare that to his outing before, the final swing and miss there on a strikeout, a curveball in the dirt. Really efficient too. I think he only needed like 39 pitches. So again, you see, this is the beginning. You see that he's leaving the fastball up. It's not moving much in that first inning, and something clicked between the first and the second inning, and really, I think he got 5 swings and misses in that final inning. With his last outing, he threw 70 pitches and got 4 swings and misses total, something like that. So it was, you don't want to make too much out of any one outing, good or bad. But like I was saying, like this was a great example of how it could work for Fulmer. Either, I don't know if it'll work as a starter role. You were saying he's probably going to be moving to the bullpen because.
Yeah, so some of the comments he said today to Cody Saberhagen, and his quote was, quote, "Would I rather be a starter? Absolutely. I think I can get back where I need to be with that. But if the best spot for me is in the bullpen, then I'm more than happy to go there as well." And I told that to AJ too, end of quote. So that's what he said to the beat writers today. And to me, I look at it this way. You always think about when you go to the bullpen, it's a different type of mindset whatsoever. I mean, you tend to air it out more. You're not worried about how many pitches you'll be throwing. And so maybe that's where it was. And that's kind of, for him, he's been saying this since day one, since last year. He's been feeling good. And I believe him. I really do. It's a thing where I think coming off surgery where you're used to throwing 97, and Brandon Day, Bless You Boys, has talked about this too, that you have to find out a way to get the adjustments. And like I said, there's even on the podcast, we said this on Friday too. Frank Tanana, as an example, because a lot of our listeners are old timers, and if I make that reference, it's kind of true. Frank Tanana had to learn how to pitch in Texas, and when he got to Detroit, he wasn't the same guy he was when he first started with the Angels. And so I think Fulmer right there, if you're going to then put Urena in the out of the bullpen and starting role, Fulmer might be a good piggyback 3 or 4 inning guy and if you get this kind of production from him. I mean, that last year was pitching 3 innings max anyway. So
Yeah.
he's already kind of that mindset anyways. And if they're going to potentially put him back in the bullpen, maybe this is it's a rotation. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with going back in there, figuring things out and go, you know what? All right, now I think I can go back in the rotation if he wanted to.
Yeah. And like we said, it's going to be a learning process for him. He's, 92, 93 up to 94. That's still plenty hard enough if you are executing your pitches and they're moving. And we see that. We talked about Tehran. Tehran was basically 90 to 92, and I think he touched 93. And it was, the ball was moving everywhere, and it was plenty for him to get outs. And it's the same with Fulmer. If he can sit in the low 90s and touch 93, 94, but execute his other pitches, it keep hitters off balance, that's more than enough to succeed. We need to see him do it multiple times, before I feel confident. But yeah, he's got to. I think he knows that 97's not there anymore, and so now he just needs to, become a pitcher. And I don't know. I thought that was a good first step the other day. Yeah, it was worth pointing out.
Definitely worth pointing out, and like seeing his optimism about going to the bullpen too. What it sounds like to me that it's going to be going to the bullpen. Hopefully, it's just hopefully it's a good adjustment, because the Tigers really need another long reliever that's a right-handed reliever right now, because you have Tyler Alexander and Daniel Norris that can go multiple innings right now. But I mean, in terms of right-handed option right now, Ryan Garcia is a kind of a 1 inning, 2 inning tops kind of guy. And AJ Hinch wants guys to go multiple innings, but Fulmer has that makeup for him. And so this would be a welcome addition if he continues to pitch like this. It'd just be nice to see another team outside of Philly and Toronto. But I get it again, I get it. So it's just,
Yeah.
I'm trying to be realistic as possible about this. But if we can see this during the regular season, that's great. So for more content like this, go to our YouTube page, Tiger Minor League Report. And if you want to become a Patreon member, go to Patreon//Tigers SRD. And there's 2 tiers there. You can join the Minor League Report tier or Tigers SRD. Really appreciate taking the time to watch another edition of Carfax. All right, hang on a second, dog.